Hello, my name is Michael Dwyer, and I'm with Rochester Writers. Once again, Rochester Writers and the Rochester Hills Public Library have teamed up to host the annual Rochester Author Fair, now in its 5th year. We're hosting 20 authors in person at the library in downtown Rochester on Saturday, November 25th, from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. These short videos offer you a chance to meet each of the 20 authors. And now we get a chance to meet Linda. Always struggle with your last name, Sienkiewicz.
That's good. You got it.
Close. Well, welcome. I know we've had you before
Yeah.
at the author fair, so you're no stranger to how this works. The event now in its 5th year, but since we last saw you, you've got another book out, correct?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah.
So you've got, I think you mentioned 4 books. I know of 3, and
Okay.
they're all different, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm going to have poetry. I have a children's book. I have an adult novel, and I have an anthology, which makes a great Christmas gift. So I have them all here with me, and I can show you each of them and give you a little spiel.
Well, we probably don't have time to go through them all, but let's
Oh, no.
let's pick your favorite and start
All
there.
right. This is the chapbook, the newest one, and it's about my son who took his life in 2011. And of course, yes, there's sadness. It's the poetry, but grief and sadness are also part of life. And I think that's really helpful in knowing that we're not alone when we've suffered such a loss. So it serves as sort of a solace to those who've suffered any kind of a loss. And there's also resources in the back of the book for suicide. So.
And that's got to be super tough. And I commend you on writing poems about such a tragic event. I don't know how you kept it together to keep writing.
Well, it took me probably about 8 years, I think, before I actually started writing these poems. Some of the poems were published in previous anthologies or books, but then there's a lot of newer work. And yeah, it was something I didn't want to write about. In fact, I never imagined that I would ever write a book about my son, but it did help me quite a bit. It wasn't easy at first. I had many sleepless nights and tears, but in the end, it helped me to come to a deeper understanding of how I got through that grief and that sorrow and was able to move on. So, yeah.
Well, it's commendable again, and I
Thank
know
you.
that the only thing I can relate it to is that as a journalist, I've had to write obituaries, and it's always sad, 1, to write it, and then 2, to read it. And so for family members, it's incredibly difficult. So I can relate to the fact that you had to write about a family member passing, but I think then for the reader, they don't have to know you or your son. They can cherish a life of someone they don't know by
Oh,
reading this.
absolutely. And they can also understand the emotions that one goes through in healing too. There were a couple poems that really brought me quite a bit of joy. One of them was just writing about some of the things I remembered from his life and remembering him as a child. For example, how he would dress up like Superman, and we'd have to go to the supermarket, and he'd be in his cape and his boots and his tights and the whole 9 yards. He also liked to dress like Mr. T, and so he'd raid my jewelry drawer to get out all the beads and jewelry and pins and things. And so it was also a joy to write as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good memory for you and your family, and for lots of people to have a copy of that book.
I hope
But
so.
with your diversity of genres, I'd like to mention the Ghost Crab book too.
Yeah, this one.
A little lighter reading.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is for children ages 3 to 8, and it's a funny and a little bit scary story about ghost crabs and a little boy's first encounter with a ghost crab. I did all the illustrations myself. It teaches bravery and compassion, and it also has educational information in the back of the book. So, yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. So, Linda, thank you for being part of the author fair again. We look forward to meeting you, seeing your books, which with quite a diversity. People definitely need to stop by your table and meet you and see what you have to offer on November 25th at the 5th Annual Rochester Author Fair. Anything you'd like to say before we close?
No, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. It's a lot of fun. So, and thank you for doing this too.